When we consider the need to continue in the Christian life, we find certain steps that we can take to grow and to prosper. Peter writes about a number of virtues that we need to add. Good morning. This is Pastor Ernie Lewis of the Blue Point Church in Sisney, Illinois, with your thoughts for Thursday. Peter begins his New Testament epistle bearing his name with some steps to take in the Christian life that will enable us to take on the divine nature of Christ. He says we should give all diligence to add faith and virtue and knowledge, to add temperance and godliness, patience and brotherly kindness in our lives. I realize these separate characteristics are of the utmost importance to add to the Christian's character. But I want to focus today on the word with all diligence. Peter says in chapter 1 and verse 10, "Therefore, brethren, be even more diligent to make your call and your election sure, for if you do these things, you will never stumble." We realize the call of God on our lives is a supernatural event. It's given to us by the Holy Spirit, who deals with our spirit to draw us to follow God. And the election of the saints is a doctrine that reminds us that God has not only chosen us to follow him, but he is working in our hearts and in the hearts of the elect to draw them closer to himself. He even says in Romans chapter 8 and verse 29, he has predestined that those who believe in him should be conformed to the image of his Son. Now, I don't want us to lose sight of the fact that God is doing the choosing and the calling and the sanctifying of us, or calling us out of this world unto himself. But we are reminded twice in just these few verses in 1 Peter 1 that we must give all diligence to make our calling and election sure, to grow in the Christian life. Roger Thesaurus reminds us that the word diligence means thoroughness in adding the characteristics that are needed to live the Christian life. He also calls it conscientiousness, that calls for our thorough focus on these things. So we're reminded to be meticulous in growing in the Christian life. He says, make your call and your election sure, which is not meaning that we should ever doubt about our calling when we become complacent sometimes or lazy. He's actually calling for us to continue in the Christian life until the very end. And he promises if you're being diligent about adding to the Christian faith, you will never stumble or doubt or grow cold in your fervor for the Lord. If we will work full time to add faith and knowledge and godliness and charity in our repertoire of Christian graces, we will not have to worry about falling. So let's get busy today and continue in the Christian life. Let's grow closer to the Lord and let's become more like him so that we can attract the lost to Jesus Christ.